we're going to add another section of our tutorial, of our infographic on this lesson. And to do that, we're going to create a place where you can add the sources of your infographic, because it is always very important that you give credit. So in the case of this infographic, I made this on purpose, that I knew that I would need to make this canvas bigger, because I knew that the space was not going to be enough. But if you want to make your canvas wider or bigger, you can do it. You can go here to your artboard tool or press Shift O, and when you do that, you go into the artboard, and in here you can type the values that you want. So in the case of this, I'm gonna give it a little bit more space on the bottom, and I'm going to unlock this part to extend the blue, just to show you that you can still change this, because I'm actually going to use another color for the sources. So I'm going to go to my pen tool or press P on my keyboard and make a line, make sure that I'm on the content, like this. And I'm going to increase the stroke so you can see it better. And one thing that I like to do in the infographics is to differentiate the part of the sources from the other infographics. So in the case of this, I'm going to use some zigzag lines. So I'm going to go to Effect, and then I'm going to go to Sort and Transform, and you can go to Zigzag. And here in Zigzag, you can select Preview, and you can see that if I change the size, you can see that how big these peaks get. And if I change the reach per segment, I can add more of these zigzag lines. And if I change to smooth, you can see how I can change this line to look like a wave. So in this tutorial, or in this particular infographic, I'm not going to go with the curve, because all of my other shapes are kind of not really curved. They are more of the corner type. So I'm going to go with the corner. But this is just to give you an idea of all the possibilities that you can use. You can use these lines to create a nice element of the background, or use this curve if you think that it could work nice with your infographic. Probably you're talking about the sea, or you're making a division because this is different, or your infographic of other topic has a lot of curves. You decided to make a lot of shapes that work together, that work better with that style. But in the case of this one, we're gonna go with corner, make the ridges per segment around there, and make the size a little bit bigger. So probably let's round our numbers 40, and then make 50, and then make sure that you are on the corner, and I'm gonna hit OK. Now if you see what I just did, you can see that I have the line, but I still have the other straight line right there, and that is not something that I want. And here you can see that I can still, on the appearance, play with the zigzag. So if I click here, I could still change the zigzag effect if I wanted. But this is not something that I want. This is useful when you want to still editing the shape. But as I said, in this case, I don't want that. So I'm gonna go Object, Expand Appearance. And when I do that, as you can see that the line is actually the one on the zigzag. So I'm gonna go P or press P on my keyboard, click there, then make another click here, make another click there, or press Shift, and close this shape. And I'm going to fill this shape with a darker blue color. I'm going to move it a little bit to the bottom. And this is again a shape that should go in the background. So as we did before, we can just cut it and paste it on the background, or you can move it between layers. And now I'm going to type sources, and I'm going to make this a little bit bigger, make it white so it stands out, and then I'm going to again type tool and select the first website, and actually want to align left, make a copy while pressing Shift and Alt, and let's copy the other website where I got most of my information, and then let's make this one regular, or probably even light, and make them smaller, move them and align them with sources, and then move this one a little bit to top, and then this one, move everything a little bit to top, change this one to white, and now you have your sources. And with this you have a infographic that really shows all the information that we research about the smiling. But these techniques could be applied to other infographics, and I want to give you some other techniques that I'm not going to be applying on this infographic because I think this looks nice. But if you want to, for example, go to the background and add some other shapes to these backgrounds, you could do it very easily. You can probably make some rectangles if you go to the background, and let's say that you make these rectangles that are lighter, and you make a copy of this, and you can see that just very easily I have made a kind of a background for this blue section, and I could cut them and paste them in place inside that to mask them. And if they are like too right there on your face, you can change the transparency and make them more subtle. And you could use the techniques that I just showed you. You, for example, could group this and then go to Effect and Zigzag. You can go to here to Distort and Transform and Zigzag. And what you can see when you do that is that this is changing the waves and making the ridges there. But you can make, if you select it like this, you can see how you can make this texture of some kind of squares, and you can make them smooth, and you can play with all these different settings to create something that could probably work for another type of infographic. In the case of this one, it would be, of course, not something that would work, but it's a good idea to always remember that you can create all these type of shapes and make some fun uses in the background. And not only in the background, you could also make another type of a graph, or you could make another type of a symbol. It is always very important that you remember that you have the ability to use these techniques that you just learned here and change them. So for example, let's go again in the background here on the here on the rays that I just created. So I want to go inside here and select the rays, and you can go again here, Effect, and you can go Distort and Transform, and let's go to Twist. And if you do that, you can have a preview and change the angle. And if you do that, you can see how these rays are twisting around there. So maybe you want to create something like that, and if you hit OK and if you go outside all this, now you can see that these rays have some movement. And in the case of this infographic, it could probably look nice. I actually think this is looking better, but what I really want you to understand is that these techniques, you can apply them on other type of infographics that probably have more fun or more color. But as you can see on this infographic, you don't have to be really super skilled on drawing or thinking that you should have some other kind of skills. These were really basic shapes, and really when you have another project, try to think of your objects and how can you build them with basic shapes. So I hope you have enjoyed this class. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time.